from Cullman, Alabama, presented by Premier Bank. Wake up, Cullman!
And good morning, guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Wake Up Cullman. I'm Jacob Murphy.
And I'm Dakota Bailey. How you doing this morning, Jacob?
You know, I'm doing pretty well. I'm glad to be here, glad to be alive, moving around. I don't like the cold. It is still cold, but I guess we're going to get over that at some point.
Yeah, I know. Last night I parked my car. I didn't think it was going to get that cold, and I had to get up 10 minutes early this morning just to crank up my car so the ice could defrost. It's crazy.
Got in the car this morning, and when I turned it on, I just realized that my windshield had frosted over, so I drove like 15 feet with just snow just stacked on the front of the car in terms of what it looked like. When I got outside, it literally looked like it was like not even a quarter of an inch thick.
I know, get one of those little ice scrapers, just comes right off.
Have you seen those now, how ridiculous they're getting?
Yeah.
The scrapers, they got one that looks like a Yeti hand, and I'm trying to figure out what the novelty of wanting a big decrepit hand that scrapes eyes off my car is. But they're charging like $30 for these things.
Because it's got the word Yeti on it.
Okay. Alrighty, guys. Well, every day we talk to you about some of the great stuff that you can win here on the show just by watching. And today is no different. If you can find out who our sponsor of the day is by checking the Facebook page and paying attention to the show and calling us at 256-734-7399 and letting us know who that sponsor of the day is, you can walk away with a couple of great prizes. So let's take a look at what those are today. We have a day pass for 6 to the Cullman Wellness and Aquatic Center, and one large pizza from Papa Murphy's Take and Bake Pizza here in Cullman. Alrighty, guys. So again, the sponsor of the day is the goal of this one, and all you have to do is let us know. Again, that number to call is 256-734-7399. Now, this is our sponsor of the day, Dairy Queen, again. So here's the way we're going to work this. We're going to give you this at the beginning of the show today, and then later on, we're going to give you an opportunity to call and make sure that you were paying attention. So again, Dairy Queen is our sponsor of the day today. And when we ask you again later on, you'll know who it is. All righty. Well, we've got a great show going on today. We've got a very interesting guest that you've seen multiple times if you pay attention to the show. Normally, during the pre-show that we have on here for Wake Up Cullman, Mr. Johnny is going to be here with us today, Mr. Johnny Thorton, and he's going to be talking with me and Dakota here about some things that we're all a little curious about this year, and that's the football season that we're having. As you can tell, over the last couple of days, we've been very football heavy, so that's okay.
Well, it's getting near the end of the year. It's getting to your playoff time, championship. Everybody's excited. New Year's is coming. Christmas is coming, For all those little teams that's trying to get into a big bowl game, this week means a lot to them. Mm-hmm. I mean, this right here could be the golden egg, or you're done.
You're done. Manure field or the golden egg. It's your choice.
Well, the good thing is everybody that's in this conference playoffs right now, or even the championships right now, they have a chance to get either into the playoffs, out of the playoffs, or into a good bowl game. For a team like Temple or Houston, a little team like that, to get up to this stage is pretty big. But we'll talk about that very soon.
Yeah, so when Mr. Johnny comes out here with us, we're going to dive right into it. So if you'll stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Accident, storm, they all happen in Cullman County, and for 3 generations, Night Free Insurance has been there for you. Continuing today with Elliott and Westcott Free, customizing your life, home, auto, and business insurance with companies like Auto Owners, State Auto, and Southern Guarantee. Call Westcott, Elliott, Judy, Tina, Angie, or Nelda. Night Free Insurance, where people are the difference.
Life lived in black and white is not a life lived. Today, I choose color. To see it. To feel it. To be in it. To be upon it. And to live a life surrounded by it. Today, I put on a fresh coat.
With classic bolognese behind you, there are racks of lamb ahead. There are tartlets to take on, and crazy knife skills to perfect. There is you and your muse, the appliance brand more chefs choose. Chefs choose KitchenAid for their homes more than any other brand. And when every machine does incredible things, there's so much more to make.
Alrighty, and we are back with Mr. Johnny Thornton. Thank you for joining us again today.
That's a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Well, obviously we've got you on during a very exciting time of the year, and I'm going to let Dakota handle this one because I feel like he's just over here just waiting to explode all this information. he's rocking in his chair. He's so
normally
excited.
it's me asking him questions now that he's in television.
The tables have turned.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah, he gets an opportunity to go after me.
All right, so there we go. Don't let him embarrass you, and don't let him scrutinize you too much.
No, I love Johnny to death. Because of Johnny, he's got me into sports, and with WKUL, he's put me along this path, and I really appreciate it. And I'm glad to have a friend that can come on and help me out when I need him. Really appreciate Johnny. All right, let's get into some football, though, Johnny. All right, we got the American Conference in Temple and Houston. How do you think that's going to roll out?
Well, to me, that's a coin toss there as far as, both teams have had their moments. It's hard to tell. I mean, which one is really the better team as far as can get it done. There's been inconsistency on both sides. You forced me to go ahead and start making my picks that I put on my own webpage. Let's see. I'll take Temple.
Temple?
Yeah.
Well, ESPN's got it where Houston's up by 6. Last week I went over Houston Navy and how Houston was going to run all over Navy, and Navy actually had up a good fight. I'm going to stick with Houston because of their quarterback and their high-powered offense, because last time Temple was on a big stage against Notre Dame, they just couldn't pull it out. What you got, Jacob?
I've and you always do this to me. I'm with you on Houston, just because of this area of the United States. I've always enjoyed watching how they play.
Well, Houston's got that high-powered spread offense. Temple's not bad, but last time Temple was on a big stage like this, they just couldn't come through. All right, USC and Stanford, Johnny.
Stanford.
Stanford? Who you got?
I'm going Stanford.
I'm going Stanford just because of the fact that Stanford's been on that high level, and once they've been there, they've either peaked or they fell. USC's had too many high points and just didn't make it. Last week, UCLA, there was a big high point in that rivalry game, but they actually came through because UCLA just – I lost that pick, by the way. I lost that pick. All right, everybody's pick, even Dennis's favorite pick on this one. We got his Iowa Hawkeyes and the Michigan State Sparty.
Michigan State, because they've been there before. Iowa's had a fantastic season. You give them credit for that. Michigan State plays in a tougher division in that Big Ten. Their philosophy, been there, done that. So I think it'll be a close ball game, but I'll take Michigan State by about a touchdown or less.
Nice. Jacob?
This one I don't know too much about, so I'm just going to go with Iowa just for the sake that that's what I put on my pick last time.
You made Dennis so happy.
I have to. I owe him that.
This is what I'm going to do. I've looked at both of them. My favorite win of Michigan State was Ohio State because Ohio State's been the big dog. Everybody wanted them to fall. They played very good. That's been really consistent. They beat Michigan on the last-second freak play. I'm going Michigan State. Iowa, yeah, they've played some decent teams. They haven't really blown them out. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens if Michigan State does win. We'll get to that in a little bit. All right. Mine, your favorite game, Johnny. Your Florida Gators and the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama, I mean, just straight up, Alabama's a better team, both sides of the ball. Florida's had a great season, and I'll say this, and being a Gator fan, they've overachieved. The question mark right now is the inability on offense to get things done, play well defense, but last week defense broke down and just allowed Florida State to get some breathing room in the fourth quarter and put it away. Alabama's the better team. They know what they had to do, and everybody expected Alabama to be there. No one expected Florida to be there this year. I had them in my preseason picks, fourth in the SEC East. It's a surprise. Florida, I think, is a year ahead of itself, but Jim McElwain has done a good job, and also Jim McElwain learned a lot of his coaching ability under Nick Saban as part of their national championship run a few years back. I think it's going to be, I'll say Alabama 27-7.
27-7. Well, see, you're right. I didn't have Florida this good either. And the thing about it is Jim McElwain got in there. He coached them really well. Then you had Will Greer. Honestly, if Greer was in, I think y'all would be undefeated, and this would be a real heated game.
It'd be a closer game if Will Greer was there. The thing about it is just the offensive mindedness of Jim McElwain with what he has is not gelled yet. He's got a young team as far as his wide receivers. His running back is good, but he can't run between tackles as far as having to go against that Alabama interior line. Then they try to stretch the ball out, and when Alabama goes to man coverage, can that freshman wide receiver deal with that? Alabama, no question, has the best front seven in college football this year, and it's just going to be difficult. Trayon Harris is a good young man. It's just he's not an efficient quarterback as far as throwing the football. He's better at rolling out instead of a drop-back type passer. I think it's more of McElwain's liking as far as what his offense is. It's just, unfortunately, Florida had to cover left bare because of Will Muschamp in offensive recruiting. Defensively, they're fine. They just have been a little banged up. They play hard. They've held teams down as far as scoring situation, with the exception of last week. You know, it's 10-0 ball game at halftime last week with them and FSU. The defense kept them in the game until it just broke down. And that's just the thing about it is that Alabama is much, much better, but it comes down to the simple fact is execution on the field.
That's exactly right. Florida also had a defensive score and a safety, which was their only 2 points of that game. Florida's defense has always been good since Muschamp left because he recruited very well. But with offense, Muschamp was an offensive guy. That's the reason he left and went to Auburn. Florida had enough of him. They got McElwain in there, and honestly, he's exceeded expectation. I never would have thought somebody's first year there going 10-2, making the SEC championship, especially in the SEC.
With the exception of Nick Saban, defensive coordinators can only go so far. It's offensive coordinators that can come in like Jim McElwain and take your team to a 10-2 record and a first ever opportunity to play in the championship in his first year. It's a lot different because most of these defensive coordinators, as far as when they become head coaches, with the exception of one, is always struggling as far as their offensive pattern, as far as getting situation. What's going to happen over in Athens, Georgia now, if they hire a defensive coordinator to be the head coach, he's going to have to put around him a great staff. There's Brian Schottenheimer, he's his first choice as offensive coordinator at Georgia. We don't know that. But for Kirby Smart to get the quality people he needs to keep Georgia where they are, I mean, they fire a coach that had a winning percentage of 730 in 15 years. The only thing was he let a transplant the last couple of years called Missouri come in and win the East, and then this year his team underachieved and Florida overachieved.
Right, I was just about to talk to you about that. Kirby Smart going, that's going to be a pretty good move for Georgia. It's going to be very interesting to see how the recruits, because I've already seen 2 players from Alabama flip-flop because Kirby Smart's going. That's going to help Georgia out in the long run because they really haven't had a defense the past couple of years. But what's going to be interesting to me is how they're going to keep getting these good running backs, because if you've noticed for maybe about the past 7 years, they've got like Keyshawn Johnson and all them, and they've also got big quality players like Chubb. Can he still get those big quality offensive players like he can defensive players?
This Georgia team, as I just said, just underachieved because even when they lost Nick Chubb, they had a better their offense never clicked as far as the chemistry. I don't know if it was chemistry issues, but the transfer from Virginia just never got into the rhythm after they had a very good game early in the season against South Carolina. They had a pretty good running game without Nick Chubb, good wide receivers, just had a lack of consistency, especially blowing that 24-3 lead in the first half to Tennessee, and they just never really got out of the doldrums from there. Florida just took them all over Jacksonville's Gator Bowl Stadium and beat them to death. And the thing about it is they was already manhandled by Alabama before they played Tennessee. I just felt that Georgia was really the best team in the East, but did not achieve because they just didn't live up to the expectations. And that's why Georgia went ahead and made a change. And Mark Richt didn't fight it. He's going to get a good job down at the University of Miami. He'll have the Hurricanes in a couple of years fighting for the best in the ACC with Florida State and Clemson and North Carolina. So I think he made the right decision himself.
Oh, yeah, it was just like the year Urban Meyer left, too, and he went to Ohio State. Everybody made a big deal, SEC going up there, you know. And now look at Urban Meyer. Back when you had the BCS Bowl, he complained because he couldn't get in. So now it's going to be interesting to see another SEC coach go down to a conference like the ACC, especially Miami, because they need a coach bad. They have been pitiful for a couple of years now. Start getting the recruiting in, get Mark Richt down there, getting his stuff going and flowing, and maybe they can come up.
One thing about Mark Richt knows the Miami area very well because he's recruited there for many, many years while he's been at Georgia. He is from the University of Miami. He was a quarterback at the same time that Jim Kelly was there in the late 70s and early 80s. So he knows the whole complexion about the talent that that Miami area and Fort Lauderdale has. So that's something he has. And I think his name going out there, if people are being looked at by the University of Miami, now they know that Mark Rick's is going to be the head coach. I think they will possibly lean in that area a little bit more. I know that a lot of them probably from Fort Lauderdale in Miami are getting heavily recruited by Florida State and Florida. And then you go outside the box, getting, some kids from Alabama and some other kids from some of the ACC schools. But I just think it's a better situation there for Mark Rick as far as he still wants to coach. He's in his mid-50s. He still has a lot to prove. He's proved a lot already.
Oh, yeah, don't be surprised if he comes out and wins a championship. All right, Jacob, Florida or Alabama?
Okay, well, I want to say Alabama here because my family will kill me. But I don't know. Florida's surprised me so far this year. And I've got this weird gut feeling that they're going to surprise us again, at least in this game. They may not win, but they're going to keep it close.
I think they'll keep it close for like the first quarter, like the Auburn game. But then fourth quarter comes around, Bama. I think Bama's going to win.
They have a tendency to do that. So.
Yeah, when fourth quarter comes around, all you do is you give the ball to Henry. He's going to score. We have no problems. All right, Johnny. I got a good question for you, and you can get in on this too, Jacob. The playoff ranking. Let's say, because me and Dennis actually talked about this yesterday. Let's say that North Carolina beats Clemson. Michigan State beats Iowa. All right, that knocks them two out. The first two next in on the list would be Michigan State and Ohio State. Do you think they're deserving? Well, Michigan State would automatically get in. Who would be deserving for that last spot then?
Well, the question is the playoff committee wants the 4 best teams. We already know this. You're going to get Oklahoma in because they've won the Big 12 conference.
Outright.
You're going to get in the Big 10 champion winners of Michigan State or Iowa. And then the next thing is, does Alabama run the table, which everybody hopes? And what about Clemson and North Carolina is a dangerous game. Ohio State's still in an opportunity as far as they're one of the best 4 teams, even though they did not win a conference championship. And the reason why, the 2 losses that Urban Meyer's had the last 2 years has been at the Ohio Stadium. They go on the road last week at Ann Arbor and just destroyed Michigan in the second half. Ezekiel is no longer a crybaby because he got the ball in his hands, ran for over 200 yards. I think the 4 best teams ought to be Alabama wins, the Big 10 winner, Oklahoma.
In the ACC.
Then if Stanford wins the Pac-12, you got to consider them seriously because, for one thing, they beat Notre Dame, knocked them out. But I think people, as far as lobbying for Ohio State, will say, well, they went 11-1. They won the last game as a expected close game by 4 touchdowns. They lost on the last-second field goal, and I don't think they really played that bad. They just didn't execute as far as the number of plays they had. So, it's the 4 best teams. Is it the 4 best 4 champions or the 4 best teams in college football?
Well, see, the way I've also looked at this, too, is you've got North Carolina. If North Carolina beats Clemson, because they're number 1 in that playoff ranking, they're going to shoot up into that playoff.
They should be seriously considered because they are beating the number 1 team. But I think what hurts them is their resume. I think they had a couple of what they call Division I AA teams that they played, and also they lost to South Carolina and wound up having a 3-9 record. It's a credibility for one thing, and I think these members on that committee, as far as the former coaches like Alvarez and other guys, I think they try to seriously take consideration about the structure of the team instead of just as far as who looks pretty and stuff like that. But Ohio State's a very good football team. Just had the toughest thing is going through an entire season in certain conferences and trying to stay undefeated. What conference has an undefeated team? The ACC, which is a surprise because to me the Power 5 conferences, probably the ACC would be about 4th or 5th as far as basically it's going to be the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, then the ACC, then the Pac-12 as far as how I rank them as far as the Power 5.
Right. That's what I would do, too. But my thing is, too, is let's just say for some wild hair, like Jacob said, he's got a weird feeling about Florida. Let's say the big 3 fall. You've got Clemson, Bama, and Iowa. So that just leaves Michigan State. It's going to be interesting to see because would you put 2 Big 10 teams in there? Or would you go ahead and throw Notre Dame up there because, they're 8-2 because the rest of them's got lost.
Alabama loses, the SEC doesn't go in. Clemson loses, that's question mark. You already got Oklahoma in. You got the Big 10 winner. I think you could wind up having a Rose Bowl type party. You could have 2 teams from the Big 10, have the Pac-12 champion if it's Stanford, and have Oklahoma. And how interesting would that be? And, of course, that pretty much shut out the South.
Yeah, that would. I mean, most everybody's wanting to see the rematch between Alabama and Ohio State, honestly. They're wanting somebody to lose so Ohio State gets that 4th seed so Bama and them can play. Me, honestly, I just want to see the best 4 teams play. I don't care, but I just want to be represented real well by the SEC, and right now, outright so far, it's Bama until we find out Saturday, but right now it'd be Bama.
Yeah, the other thing about it, Dakota, is this: it's all the hype. I mean, we're 2 days away from these conference championships, and all this chitter chatter as far as how that's going on, all this talk. It's just what these teams, they know what they got to do. They got to go out there and execute their game plans. Alabama, they know what they have to do. You know, are they distracted by what's going on this week about possibly losing Kirby Smart? No, they've been there so often because they're Alabama. Alabama is in that situation that they know what they got to do. I think Clemson knows what they have to do. They've had a storybook season. They don't want this Cinderella story to end because of another Cinderella team. And the thing about Stanford, you're still in an opportunity, and your Michigan State or your Iowa, you're going to get the Big Ten in there. And Ohio State is licking their chops for somebody just to falter. But I think it is the best 4 team. The team has already put their foot in the door is Oklahoma. And Oklahoma did it rightfully so. The only thing about what they did was they embarrassed themselves in early October when they lost to a very mediocre Texas team. And the question is now, how long does Charlie Strong remain in Austin, Texas? Has he got another season, or could he be fired at the end of this year? This weekend they play Baylor.
That's going to be very interesting. Those Baylor Bears are really tough to get a hold of. Well, we'll be right back with Community Billboards right after this.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year. Now I don't know if there'll be snow, but have a cup of cheer. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and when you walk down the street, say hello to friends you know and everyone you meet. Oh, the mistletoe is hung where you can see. Somebody waits for you, kiss her once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas. And in case you didn't hear, oh, by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas.
Life lived in black and white is not a life lived. Today, I choose color. To see it. To feel it. To be in it. To be upon it. And to live a life surrounded by it. Today, I put on a fresh coat.
Have you been online to see our brand new website? Go to mycullmantv.com. There you can find links to see a live stream, notes from today's shows. You can meet our sponsors and even meet us here at the station. But don't forget about that Meet the Sponsors link. There you can see advertisements from the sponsors that help keep us on the air. You can also click on the links to go to these sponsors' web pages. My Cullman Television. Let's discover Cullman together.
I'm Jay Mullins with Premier Bank.
And I'm Jacob Mullins.
For more than 26 years, we've been providing friendly personal banking services to the citizens of Cullman and surrounding counties. We continue to provide new and improved services to our customers, and we even have a new look. So come by and see us at any of our 9 convenient locations. And remember, the same friendly personal service, and we're open on Saturdays.
Alrighty, guys, and we are back. We're going to jump right into our Discover Cullman section to kind of highlight some of the things going on. And rolling right along into it. Summer is served with Papa Murphy's Steak and Bake Pizza, which is located next to Yogurt Mountain. They encourage you to try their new barbecue pizzas, which come in chicken, pork sausage, and steak. So go ahead and give them a try if you've never had them before.
Steel Apple Orchards presents their apples right here for the highest quality products and lowest possible prices of 1985. Steel Orchard apples.
O.F. Richter & Sons Incorporated, owner of Benjamin Moore Paints, a sponsor of that. They're open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and open Saturdays, 7 to noon. So definitely check them out.
Grand Porney Pharmacy's Coffee and Yes. They now sell Tyler Candle Company products. Come see them for some awesome smelling candles.
And Night Free Insurance, providing insurance coverage for over 3 generations. For more information about Night Free Insurance Agency, you can call 256-734-4090.
Be Fit Fitness Faculty downtown in Cullman next to General Gallery. $50 a month, month to month, no contracts, members including a free personal trainer. So go be fit, guys.
And Pizza Hut's all-you-can-eat lunch buffet is a new featured pizza every day. It's open from 11 to 2 for now only $5.99. They also have a Sunday night buffet from 5 to 8. For more information, call 256 and continue the number on the screen.
Tires for Less, oil changes, minor engine repairs, shocks, brakes, alignments, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5 p.m. Come see Greg and the guys.
And the Cullman Golf Course is open 7 days a week, and they are having a senior golf day, which is for seniors ages 55 and up. Every Thursday, play for just $23, a $7 savings. Alrighty, guys. We know now that we've moved on from the Discover Cullman, we're going to go ahead and point out the fact that it is now time to call in again and tell us who that sponsor of the day was that we mentioned at the beginning of the show. Again, that's something we're going to start trying to do for you to help you out a little bit, as we're going to start playing that sponsor of the day at the beginning of the show and then giving you this opportunity to call. So if you know who that sponsor of the day is that we mentioned earlier, call us at 256-734-7399. Again, that's 256-734-7399. Let us know who that sponsor of the day is, and you can walk away with both of those great prizes. Alrighty, guys. Well, now it's time for my favorite part of the show, and that again is the weather, and it's brought to you by Mitch Smith Chevrolet. So remember to make the switch to Mitch. The average high for the day is looking at going to be 63. The average low at 41 degrees. Record high set in 1928 at 74 degrees, with a record low set in 1977 at 15 degrees. Sunset tonight at 4:40 p.m. with sunrise tomorrow at 6:21 a.m. Now, as you can tell, we've got some odd weather going on in Cullman. As you can tell, right now we're looking pretty clear. We have a 0% chance of rain today with a high of 51, with the low tonight 31 with a 0% chance of rain continuing into tonight. Now tomorrow we are also looking at a 0% chance of rain. It is supposed to stay moderately clear until the beginning of next week. Again, we're hitting a high of 58 tomorrow, so we are seeing those cooler temperatures, as you can tell. We are pushing towards the end of the week already, so we are looking at those warmer temperatures, but again, we are dipping down between the 30s, or upper 30s and lower 40s for our lows at night. So we are getting colder. As we stated at the beginning of the show, we are seeing frost on windshields and everything again now, so you definitely need to make sure that you are keeping everything warm, making sure you have plenty of supplies in your car, make sure that you get any outdoor activities that you have to do while it's dry and while it's warm, because it's those cold, damp environments that get everyone sick. And we work in too close of an environment with people to be sick constantly.
Oh, yes. And another thing, if you also put your fans in reverse when you've got the heater on, it actually heats your house. It makes the heat rise to the top of the full.
That's something I didn't know until like 2 years ago. I'm 21 and I did not know that.
Yeah, my dad taught me that one time.
Yeah, apparently you can also flip a box fan sometimes and do that, but it depends on the kind of fan. Yeah, either way, that's getting too much into it. All right, guys. Well, if you will join us again in just a bit, we'll be right back with more.
When it comes to packing and shipping this season, think of us as your guardian angel. Get the expert care you deserve with the Pack and Ship Promise, only at the UPS Store.
Local Auto Owners Independent Agency. We are dedicated to assisting you in your time of need. We live and work right in your community, and we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Fortunately, emergencies don't happen every day, but when they do, we're here to personally see you through. For life, home, car, and business insurance, call us, your local independent auto owners agent, today.
With classic bolognese behind you, there are racks of lamb ahead. There are tartlets to take on, and crazy knife skills to perfect. There is you and your muse, the appliance brand more chefs choose. Chefs choose KitchenAid for their homes more than any other brand. And when every machine does incredible things, there's so much more to make.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. All the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle bells.
Alrighty, guys, we are now back with our community billboard, sponsored by Pepsi.
CRMC's Foundation Dr. Herman C. Lights of Love program. Christmas tree light ceremony on Thursday, December 3rd at 5:30 in the Cullman room. Call 256-737-2564 for more information.
And the Christmas Festival 5K is going on Saturday, December 12th. The 5K schedule goes from 7 to 8:30. Register check-in to the building, 8:45 to 8:55. The race lineup and continuing all the way up to 10 o'clock at the awards ceremony. This event is benefiting the First Source for Women. For questions about the run, sponsorship, or volunteer opportunities, contact Mark Aderhold at 256-708-3569.
Christmas Festival and Outdoor Market December 12th at 10 to 5 a.m.
Again, they're hosting a wide variety of things at the St. John's Christmas Music Festival. Again, we're having music and entertainment from a wide assortment of people, a kids' carnival area called the Candy Cane Land, and the Dinkelberg Market. Over 40 market vendors, arts, crafts, and food. For more information, call 256-734-0344. And if you have a community billboard or would just like to reach us, you can contact us at our webpage at mycolemantv.com, email us at mycolemantv@gmail.com, or call us at 256-734-7399.
And we are sponsored by Pepsi.
And remember that if you have a birthday, please send it in to us and we can talk about it on the show and kind of congratulate you on that. And remember, every Friday, those birthdays will be put into a drawing to win a free ice cream cake from Dairy Queen. So you don't want to miss an opportunity for that. Same goes with our anniversaries. If you have an anniversary, feel free to send it in, and every Friday you will be entered for a drawing to win a $15 gift certificate from the Candle Garden. And if you didn't already know, as we stated at the beginning of the show, our sponsor of the day today was indeed Dairy Queen, who is now hosting their Candy Cane Blizzard, so you definitely want to check that out.
And Dev's Bookstore also.
And again, remember, we encourage you to check out the Facebook page of ours. We always want to see you on there. We can't stress you enough how important it is for us to hear from you about that. It's always a big deal for that kind of stuff to go on, and we always want to hear from you. Besides, how else can we make fun of Dakota about his picks?
Oh yeah, I always love to hear from the people to see about sports or even about the show, about anything that you think we could do better or anything you think you could try to help us with or anything. We love opinions, voicing, so we can make our show better for the audience out there. Plus, I'd love to see how people can pick against me. I mean, there's people that can pick better than me. I'm not the best in the world, but I love to see people's comments and reposts because you get stuff about Alabama and Auburn all the time. I'm just like, look, I'm an SEC guy. As long as we look good, I'm like this. Bama, Auburn, as long as the state looks good, it brings in more money, more funds and stuff, helps our schools, our community. But, Alabama's the best right now, so let's roll the tide and hope they can bring it home for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this is an exciting season. Again, we got a lot of games coming up that I'm excited to see play out. Again, I won't lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm terrible at keeping up with all of this, if you couldn't tell. But I'm gonna try to hold my own in it. Maybe Dakota will make me a better man because of it. So, can't ever go too wrong with that. All right. Well, again, guys, we had a great show today. Again, thank you to Mr. Johnny for coming on today and talking to us about sports. It's always fun to see these two banter. Teacher has become the student. So there we go. Alrighty, well again, I'm Jacob Murphy.
I'm Dakota Bailey.
And again, everyone here at My Cullman Television hopes you guys have a great Thursday, and we will see you tomorrow.